This guy's here. Hey, Wardrobe, what's up, man? Nothing special here, buddy. Just more stuff. More stuff. Running through what is my attempt to turn ASL into a Napoleonic system. St. Louis fan base. That was just there about a week ago, man. There for a short visit, about 5 days. Got my Emo's pizza fix, and all is well. Hope you're doing well as well. So this is, as mentioned, this is my attempt to turn ASL into a Napoleonic system. And for the most part, it's working. As you can imagine, there are a few bugs, wrinkles, etc. But we'll start with just what we would start with if we were playing ASL. This is the rally phase. We won't have much to do by way of rallying because it's the first turn. Nobody is broken or anything like that. But we will have things to do. We need to roll command for both sides. Why is that like that? Just printed off a new version of these rules I've been working on, and there's some weirdness in the word when it describes rally phase. Each side comes out. Okay, so let's start with we'll do the British first. Now, the British have 3 leaders to the French 2. Usually the French outnumber the British when it comes to leaders with these scenarios. This is a Commands and Colors Napoleonic scenario. And the part of the motivation behind doing all of this is ways to utilize these Commands and Colors scenarios because there's so many of them. All the work's done for you, but as fun as Commands and Colors is, it's pretty basic. So that was part of the motivation behind doing all this. So we have a 9-2 leader over here. He'll need to roll 9 or less. He does so he's in command, as are all units within 2 hexes of him. That makes life easy for the British left flank. Probably can't see what I'm doing. I'll do my best to represent that. That's there. So if I bring this up, might be able to live with that. Let's see how that goes. So this guy's in command. All right, so that leaves. We'll get to the action soon enough. This guy here, who is 7 or less, not very good. And I rolled random leader generation for these leaders. So let's 5, 6, 7, 8. He failed his command check. And they are too far away from this leader to draw a command from him. So now, because there are no possible leaders to draw from, and now we can roll individual command checks for units 1, 2, which will have to be, So start with the artillery here, 7 or less. Also out of command. 5, 6, he's good to go. 3, 4, he's fine. 6, he's fine, and he's fine. So then we go, this guy's out of command range from anybody. He is fine. Now we'll roll for this leader on the right flank, 8 or less. He is fine, which means these guys are fine, done. At least the British are done. Then we go to the French. We've got an 8 leader here, so we'll need to roll 8 or less on him. We rolled exactly an 8. He's good, which means 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. Ooh, that's very good, because since this leader's in command, that brings this lower ranked 7x0 in command. So all of this stuff is in command. This guy, however, is too far out of command range. He'll need to roll 7 or less. He does not. So that's not bad. 1 unit out of command out of a whole bunch of folks. That is the gist of the rally phase. Again, you would attempt to rally broken units. Roll your command rolls. This is every turn. That brings us to the fire phase. And the British are going first. Now you can call this the prep fire phase if you want. It functions essentially the same, but it is the fire phase. We don't have a whole heck of a lot we can do as the British for the British turn. We do have some artillery that can fire. At least one artillery unit. The other one is out of command. He doesn't have anything. So yeah, it's just going to be this guy here. So we'll fire at the opposing French artillery. 1, 2, 3, 4 hex range. Let's go back here. So we need Britain foot artillery, right? Yes, 4 hex range is a 1. Firing uphill is actually going to be a 0, and then the rank bonus for firing at artillery is a 1. So all we're looking at here is the 1 column on our combat results table, which is also essentially the same as your squad leader combat results table. And I know that sounds weird, but it's been working. We got a 6, so we just missed a shake and check. I've changed the pin task checks into shake and checks. They also essentially function the same. And just as you would in squad leader, you'll mark this unit as having fired, which means he cannot move in the movement phase, which is next. Movement phase should be a lot to do here. Essentially, everybody is good to go, yes? Did I not? Why is he not marked? Oh, okay. Let's start with, what do we got here? This is Portuguese stuff. They should have the same movement rate as the French when it comes to unit types, and yes, they do. So light infantry here can move. Let's move there. 1 in fire, or 2 and not fire. Let's move 1 and mark him as having moved, so we know he can fire in the advancing fire phase. Objectives: we need to take as the British this hill and this hill. Hopefully this stuff that I'm pointing at shows up on camera. 2 hills, 1 on the left and 1 on the right flank. We have 1. Let's move the line infantry up and over. Will not have anything to fire at, but we'll mark him as moved. Then we have Portuguese light cavalry. 1, 2, 3. We'll put them right there. We've got a leader right there. Line unit here. And remember to mark these folks as moved. Then we go to on my way. We're going to put this line unit in the wood. Line unit here. We'll move out of the stream, which is fordable. I don't even know when all these streams are fordable in these scenarios. I don't know why they even have them. I guess historical purposes, it really has no bearing on anything. Moved. He's screwed because he's out of command. He fired. He's out of command. We have a light unit. What is... So I put this up not knowing I would need it. I know I need it. That's how it goes. Huh? This guy right here, skip this junk. First, moving into infantry. Let's stop. Okay, so even though we can move 2 as light infantry, if we move into this wooded hex, we will need to stop. We won't be able to go any further. Moved. And then the left flank here is going to go right there. Right there. Moved. Let's bring him. No, let's go straight. Because then we can head straight down to that hill objective. Moved. More light. No, that's heavy. Can move 2. Put them 1, 2 right here. Let's put them. Let's put them right here. Nope. Let's change them right there. That's where they're going. Horse artillery needs to move. But where? If I go 1, it's right here. Choices. Let's stay limbered. We're good to go. There's nothing on the left flank to draw me over there, so we'll move more towards the center, be done with him. And that should be it for our movement. This guy again. I've even got my old squad leader tray out. Here we go, I need this. But I needed to say, come on. Irritating me here. There we go. I got what I need and I need what I got. Okay, now everyone is officially happy. Movement phase is over. Guess what's next? Defensive fire phase. Do we have anybody? Yes, we do. As the French, we have a unit here and some artillery, and I think that's it. So 2 units will have a shot. Artillery here. Let's fire with the French in column, for God's sakes. Be better if we were in line, but we're not. So that's going to be a 2. On a hill makes 3. Firing at British in column makes 5. There's no 5 column. So that drops to a 4. Let's roll 2 dice. 2 dice 6. We get a whopping 11. That's not going to help anyone. Brings us to the artillery here. That is French foot artillery at 1, 2, 3 hex range. It is 2 column, 3, 4, 5. Again, no 5 column. Drops to the 4. We get awesomeness. We rolled a 2 snake eyes. So casualty reduction and a +2 morale check. Now, for the purposes of this game, casualty reduction means half that unit is gone. And that's how we do it. We don't do step losses. We drop from a 4 to a 3 to a 2 to a 1. It's half the unit's gone and then the other half's gone. That is it. So he has +2 morale check for the other half. And 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He is now broken. So we lost half his unit and he's broken. So that artillery stuff worked. And that's it. That's all I got. We need to mark them with defensive fire. So it was this unit. You know what? I think I'm losing my mind. This guy also has them in range. So I don't know what the hell I'm thinking. So let's fire them. That's a 2, a 3, 4, 5. Also 4 column. Roll that up. It's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's nothing. Okay. So we're good. That was the French defensive fire phase. Brings us to advancing fire phase. Anybody that moved British, Portuguese wise can fire at half strength. And that will amount to, looks like only one unit has somebody in range. And that is this fella right here. This is the Portuguese light infantry in column. Not going to have much. So Portuguese light 2 drops to a 1. Firing uphill drops to a 0, but then you get the rank bonus for the French in column. Goes back up to a 2. So we'll roll on the 2 column. And we rolled 2 3s, so that cowers to the 1 column, and the 6 means nothing. They'd had a task leader that wouldn't cower. And again, I know all this sounds strange, but trust me, it is working. This ASL stuff, the stuff that didn't work, I left out, but this stuff that does is. That's it for the advanced fire phase, and then the route phase I scratched. It worked, but it didn't work, and I don't want to go into why, but essentially it has to do with retreating and disallowing other units to be able to fire at a unit that retreats, etc., and range. So routing for this works. You will route at the end of every turn, such that it's required. So there's no route phase. It's just whatever turn a unit breaks and needs to, which would be this turn. Actually, that would have been the defensive fire phase turn. At the end of that turn, this guy should have routed 1 hex for breaking. Forgot to do that. And he should have a desperation morale marker. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. And then the advanced phase I've turned into an adjust phase, which is just in-hex adjustment stuff, attacker only, that you can do if you do not plan on charging or conducting close combat. So that means essentially if you want to wheel or turn or change formation, now's your chance. And these guys aren't going to be conducting close combat, so we're charging, so I'll change them to line. And I think that's all I really care to do. Maybe we can wheel them a hex corner, because facing matters. And everybody else I'm going to keep in column. You need to be in column to move, essentially. I say that and then I'll probably contradict myself, but that's what I have written. That's it for the adjustment phase. Again, attacker only. We don't have anything going on close combat wise, I don't think, as far as melee, but we do have this unit here. This unit where's my pointer stick? So you guys can keep track of what's going on. I lost one. Here it is. This unit here, this is light cavalry, can charge this French light cavalry. Let's go ahead and do that. It's just they're not gonna get a charge bonus because they're charging them frontally. So it's just gonna be regular melee, so you won't get that plus 10 bonus for charging, etc., etc. But let's go ahead and ring it up. So Portuguese light cavalry melee is just a 3. What are the other? We gotta add all this up. Per rank in the unit, that is 1 for cavalry, so 4. Fender is out of command, so that gives me a 5. -1 per rank of defending unit drops back down to 4 because it's cavalry. And 4 column it is. This is for the Portuguese attacker. Great roll, rolls a 4, so +1 morale check on the French light cavalry is an 8. So he's good to go. If that would have been 9 or more, he'd be done. Now they can battle back because they didn't break or retreat or become eliminated. So now it's the French. It's going to be the same, pretty much the same deal. Let's see, that was Portuguese light, and that was a 3. Now it's going to be 1 more, but there is no 5 column. So that's going to be 4 as well. What do they get? They got a 4, 5, 6. That's a normal morale check on the Portuguese. And they passed it as well. So you could say they're locked in melee. If you want, I'll let you. But that's the end of the British/Portuguese turn. Let's pull our markers, move markers, fire markers off, and defensive fire markers off. And then it'll be the second half of turn 1, which will be the French reply. This guy off. Had I been able to swing it and charge them on that unit's flank or rear, I'd get that massive cavalry charge bonus, but didn't get that. So here we go, rally phase. So just like squad leader, if you want to rally, you need an in-hex leader to do so, or you need to be elite, or you need to be the attacker, because you can, as the attacker, self-rally 1 unit. Now, none of that applies to this only broken unit so far, so they're stuck there. I can't ever pull this desperation morale marker off now. We do need to pull that off. Roll command again for folks. Starting here, 9 or less, 6, 7, 8, he's fine. As that entire left flank. And then 7 or less here is not fine. Again, he's failed it last time too. In fact, I think I've jumped the gun here. I wouldn't need to roll command again until the next turn. This is still turn 1, French response, so forget you saw that. Rally phase, blah, blah, blah. So now it is the fire phase for the French. We have things that we can do. So let's fire again. You know, do I want to see this as an age-old question? Do I want to stay in column and move up? And yeah, I think I do. So he's going to move. And I need to determine this because you can't fire if you're going to move. So I need to determine who. I think everybody's going to move here. So no fire phase, but we will hop right into the movement phase. And as mentioned, as advertised, we're going to have a lot of folks moving. I'll check the comments at the end of this turn. Okay. So let's move off of our higher ground bonus there, which is stupid, but that's what I'm doing. Move, 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 move. Pull him over here and we can get a, and here's another cool thing. We're in column and we've caught that unit in line in the close combat phase. We're going to have fun with that. And he can use him as a +2 support to help get in a higher combat results table column. Let's just be extremely bold here, is the French. Extremely bold here. Everybody's moving. He's going to move and wheel a hex corner to cover that, a little bit of that right flank. And then these guys, 1, 2. Let's keep them on the hill for now. Stay there, move him up here. Good to go, movement phase. And then now is the British/Portuguese defensive fire phase. That's going to look like this. Wow. We don't have them. Okay, interesting stuff. What am I talking about? I need my pointer again. Interesting stuff such as this unit would love to fire. This unit here cannot because it's not in his arc of fire or his zone of control or whatever you want to call it. He would have to wheel a hex corner to bring them in range, so they've got nothing going there. However, this unit can fire with the full force of his line. There's a Portuguese light infantry firing in line. Is a mere 4 on the firing table. And +2 for French being in column makes 6. So we'll roll on the 6 column. No other bonuses or modifiers. We rolled a 7, which is just got a normal morale check on that French unit, who passed it with a 7. So nothing happened. That was defensive fire for them. And then we have a unit in column here that can fire. He'll do the same. Let's see, fire. Let's unit strength on that. And back and forth, back and forth. So Portuguese, that's a Portuguese line unit as opposed to light cavalry. So he's going to be a 2. Firing French in column makes 4. So it is a 4 column still. And what does he get? Rolls a 6, 2 3s, which cower, brings him to the 2 column, and a 6 is a shaken check on that unit. He fails, so he's shaken. Shaken means you move half strength, half firepower, lasts the entire turn. For combat results table, ASL stuff, that was essentially your pin task check. Then we go, mark him. I think he was out of command. I took that thing off, and I shouldn't have taken it off. Yeah, well, two more units. So it's artillery unit. That is British, not Portuguese, and he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, which is a 1, 2. So 2 column, and he rolls an 8 on the 2 column, which is nothing. And actually, that would have been the one column anyway because they were firing uphill. And then finally we have point blank fire here, which, trust me, fully aware of what point blank fire means in ASL, and I have not yet given in to allowing that to occur within this rules format, but I haven't written it off completely. I'm still considering it. Essentially, that would double the firepower for being adjacent there. Not sure. I'm going to have to check on how that would work. If it would make that much of a difference if you were that close, arrow-wise and things like that. Either way, we've got British light infantry in column. Still going to be a whopping 4. Firing at French in column. Rank bonus is going to make a 5-6. So that's going to be rolled on the 6 column. Pretty good column to roll on. Unless you cower like I just did, drops me to the 4 column. With an 8 result, we just missed a shake and check. Again, had they had an attached leader, they wouldn't have cowered. That is the end of the defensive fire phase. Right here. Okay, which brings us to advancing fire phase. Yes, now we can fire just what it means. Fire half firepower, the units that moved. We have a few that can do this. That's going to be, again, the problem with firing in column, though, is you're not firing with the full brunt of the force you could potentially fire with if you were in a line. I'm going to do it either way. So we have French line is a 2. Cut that in half for moving range fire is a 1. Rank bonus for firing British in line is a 2. +2 bonus for support makes 4. No, he's shaken. So you can't do support if you're shaken. So that put a damper on those plans. All right, fine. Roll this again. That was a 1. Rank bonus 2. So we're rolling on the 2 column. Horrible odds unless you roll a 3 like I just did, and then you get a +1 morale check. That they fail. Awesome sauce. Remind me to retreat him 1 hex when we're done here. At least I'll check. I think it's 1 hex. So they can't support because they're shaken, but they can fire on their own. And even that's going to be sold. Line infantry in column is 2. Have that because he moved is 1. Have it again because he's shaken is 0.5. Rank bonus for British and line is going to be 1.5. So that's the 1 column. God's sakes. And as you might imagine, no result. Got this guy on the hill. This guy on the hill. He's going to fire. 2 drops to 1. He's going to go in the 2 column. +1 for being on the hills of 3. There is no 3 column, so 2 columns is. Cowers drops to an 8. Nothing. And then this guy here. Firing in the wood. Again, that is 2. Drops to 1 for moving range fire in column, so 1. Rank bonus for target is 2-3. But he's in the woods. Drops back down to 2. And no result there. That might be it. No, that's not it. We have finally this guy here. Light infantry in column is 3. Moving range fire 1.5. Firing at British in column 2.5, 3.5. They're in the woods, so I just lost count. Well, good Lord. 3, just lose the 0.5. It doesn't matter anyway. So 3, 1.5 drops to 1. 2, 3 drops back down to 2. For God's sakes. Not good. He cowered and it's nothing. So that's the end of the moving range fire there. No route phase is mentioned, but at the end of that turn, remember, you route at the end of the turn in which you are broken. So he will route. I say route. You call it retreat if you want. He is going to route back 1 hex. Or now this is commands and colors stuff I'm looking at. So Portuguese light infantry. Yeah, he'll retreat 1 hex. So I'll put that there. And that's the only unit that broke this turn. So that's the only unit that's routing. Shaking units don't retreat. They just shake. And then our adjustment phase as the French, we can wheel or change formation. I like the way everybody's facing, and I like the formations that they're in, so we'll forego that. Which brings us to the French close combat phase. We have things, folks, we can do. Being in command does not matter if you're in command or not when it comes to close combat. You're not just going to stand there and say, hey, I'm not in command. I can't do anything. You're going to fight, so that's what we'll do. French unit here will conduct melee against the Portuguese light infantry. Again, it's not a charge, just regular melee, but that's going to be a 4. And what else is it going to be? Check our stats here. I do have a modifier for being out of command, so that's a 3. And three, 4, drops back down to 3. That's just a 3. So again, we're 3 columns, so we roll in the 2 column. Got nothing, and then they'll battle back as the Portuguese light infantry here. Now we got to use our imaginations here. You're going to say, hey, that was a melee combat between 2 cavalry units, and you got no result. Well, we didn't get a result that was decisive enough to cause one or the other to withdraw or suffer significant casualties. It's not to say there weren't bumps and bruises there. At least that's how I justify it. Portuguese light cavalry. That's going to be a 3. Rank bonus 4. Drops back down to 3. Again, no 3 column, so we're rolling on the 2 column. Horrible roll, done. So nothing going on there. And then I had also considered doing the straight ratios that they do in close combat and NASL. Haven't completely ruled that out, but I haven't been doing it either. So there's another potential. Probably won't, because you get a kill result, the entire unit's done. There's ways of tweaking that, but I'm not ready to commit to trying that just yet. Then we have... Is that it? I thought we were going to have a whole bunch of slew of things to do. I guess not. Okay, so that brings us to this final unit here, and that'll end the turn, and I'll check comments and pause for effect. We've got a French light infantry unit in column, which is what you want, and in close combat and melee. That's going to be 4. Rank bonus for the attacker 5. Rank bonus for the defender drops back down to 4. And they're in a wood, so that drops back down to 3. There's no 3, so 2 column, which never seems to yield anything, and this time is no different. That is the end of the close combat phase, and brings us, but that's the end of turn 1. So yes, there's things percolating in my head. Point blank fire, should I do it, should I not? The seemingly benign combat results when it comes to melee. I think I'm going to have to tweak something to get bloodier results from that. We'll see. What else do we got here? So, wardrobe says Now, why didn't I think of that? NASL, Napoleonic ASL. That's what it is. Do you plan on publishing them? If I do, I mean, I'll post them on the Napoleonic site with the other stuff and let you guys fiddle with it. Yeah, I like that NASL idea. What do you guys feel? How are you feeling? You want to run through another round of this? Maybe it'll be a little more fluid this time. This time we do pull all the in command markers off. You do this beginning of each turn. So that was turn 1, now it's turn 2. And we run through this command stuff again here. And we have a couple broken units that we can rally one of them now as the British or the attacker. He's out of command. Let's pull these off and get to it. We'll do another turn here. Shaken. Yep, shaken markers come off. You don't have to do a morale check or rally to lose your shaken marker. It comes off at the end of the turn. Command checks. We'll start with the British again. He's 9, still a 9. Will always be a 9, and that's good for him because he continues to keep this left flank in command. And then we have this 7 or less leader who, he's in command this time. So 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. That does not bring him into command. 1, 2. Or this guy. So we need to roll for them. Let's go with this chap there. He's fine. And artillery here is not. I think he's been out of command the entire game so far. And then this 8 or less here rolled a 7. 1, 1, 2. Roll him. And he's in command. All right, so our broken, this guy's going to have to self-rally here. We can do that with one unit as the attacker. And good for him, he did it. The other unit's going to have to stay broken. No N-hex leader. And we just, as you just saw, did our one non-leader joined self-rally. So let's roll for the French here. Command 8 or less there. Only 2 leaders for the French. He is fine. It's usual stuff. This guy needs to roll his own. He's also fine. That's great. 7 or less. Now he's moved. So he's moved, and I wish I would have thought of this. He moved himself away from this other leader. Had he not done that, this leader would automatically be command because he's a lower rank than this guy. Not sure that was very good tactics on my part. So now we got to roll, hoping to get a 7 or less, and we don't. So that was not cool on my part. I messed that up. This guy is in command, though, because he's still within command distance from him. So that leaves these 3 units are... okay, he's good. 5, he's good. And finally, I 6, 7, he's good. So we narrowly escaped that blunder. Speaking of blunders, we have those in here because that's probably my favorite thing from the black powder rules. Individual units that roll command, roll a 12, they will blunder because it's fun stuff. So there's that. That's the end of the rally phase. We rallied, we rolled our commands, and now we hop to the fire phase. Should have some stuff. Not as much as I would like. This unit's broken. That unit still doesn't have them within, we can call it line of sight, within their wheelhouse. We can fire with this guy, though, and we will. That is British, not Portuguese. British line in column, that's a 2. Firing at the French in column makes 4. So let's roll in the 4 column, shall we? 6, 7, there's a shake and check. Wasn't he just shaking? He just lost his shaking status and he's back to shaking. Half firepower, half movement for him. Well, he isn't going to be doing a lot this turn anyway. And this guy here, that is British light infantry. Man, they got good stats. So that's a 4 already, even without the rank bonus. He's going to get another +2 for firing at French in column. So that brings him into the 6 combat result table column. Roll it up. Roll a 10. Terrible. You blew it. Nothing. And then this artillery here. I don't seem to get anything to happen, but 1, 2, 3, 4 hex range. 1 column drops to 0 for firing uphill. Back up to 1 for rank bonus for firing at the artillery. Gives me, I just missed a shake and check, so nothing there. That was our, I gotta remember to mark these guys. Prep fire here, he fired, and he fired, yes. I need this in my life, right there. All right, so that's the end of the British fire phase. British movement phase. Why, don't mind if I do. Pull him up 1. Mark him as moved. Now we can, you see. If I change formation, so look. Change formation and wheel 1 hex corner, that puts this French unit right down the line there, and that'll give me a flank shot as well. So we'll get a bonus for that, which is cool. This guy's going to move 1 uphill. Be done. There, and this leader, who is so far to the right, isn't doing anybody any good. It's going to go right here. Would love to move into that hex with that broken unit, but just can't do it yet. Half strength unit, what do we want to do with him? We want to put him in the wood. Still have line of sight with our artillery there. He can't move. We've got all this nonsense again. You know what? I'm going to unlimber the horse artillery. Maintain their line of fire here, but thought about moving them up and crossing the river and all that. No, they're ready to roll here. Let's mark them as moved. What do I want to do with this heavy cavalry? Let's wheel them for a charge. We're already in the stream, so we don't have to stop. If we wheel them, then we could charge straight, because you want to be able to, you can't wheel or turn when you're charging. We can charge straight into that light infantry unit. And we want to move them 1. Good God almighty. We want to move them 1 into this wood. Still in column. Remembering that if you want to move as infantry, you need to be in column. And this guy will come right here. No, I thought I was going to push him forward to that victory hex. Let's put him right here. Let's see if we can let him go rogue and pull that off. Probably not. So move there. NASL. Napoleonic ASL, nasal. Move, I need 1 more move marker. One more stinking move marker. There we go. Okay, that's the end of the British movement. We're done. stream broke in half. This guy's back in command, yes? Let's put him right there. And in defensive fire phase, we should have something, huh? Defensive fire phase. Oh, gee, what's that, man? This is NASL, as Wardrobe has dubbed it. Nasal? Napoleonic ASL. That's what I've stitched together here of late. Let's go with here. This is defensive fire. Let me adjust the camera too real quick because I don't think we need it that far over. Shaky cam for a second, guys. Maybe that's better, maybe not. I don't know. Again, defensive fire. Let's go with this unit here. French line and column, so 2. Rank bonus 3 drops back down to 2 because they're in the woods, but they're broken, so I might be able to get something here. No, I don't. Anger. This guy can fire half strength because he's shaken the whole game. So that is also going to be a 2, drops to a 1. 0 for the woods, back up to 2 for the rank bonus. It was 7. It's nothing either. And this unit here is also a 2. 3, 4 for our rank bonus, and 4 it is. So just when I think I'm going to get something, I roll 10. So nothing there. And then maybe this artillery can finish off that half-strength unit there. Surely you can do that. 1, 2, 3 hex range. Foot artillery is a 2. They are in column, so that makes 4. They have a hill height advantage, so 5 drops back down to 4 because they're in the woods. I cowered and I got nothing. I tell you what. 2 more opportunities here. Let's fire with line unit on the hill. In column, so 2, 3, 4, down to 3, 3 column, back to 2. Cowers, rolls a 6, and gets nothing. This is just how it's gone for me. And finally, light infantry. I may have to do that point blank thing. Light infantry, French light infantry that is, 3, 4, 5, drops to 4 because of the wood. Is a 6. Normal morale check, oh my god. And he passed. Awesome. But none of that did anything for me as the French. And I need another one of these, so... Nothing and nothing. Boom. All right, that was the French defensive fire. And now the British-Portuguese advancing fire, yes. Yes, things we can do. Now he did move, so he's still going to have to fire at half firepower, but he is in line now, so that helps. And he's got that flank bonus coming up, so let's see what that's about. Fire. Portuguese line fires at. What does Portuguese line fire at? For these days, it's going to get you a 4. And then 5, 6, 7, 8. That's terrible. You know why? Because that's our bonus for hitting them on the flank. It's already up to 8 now. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Don't get too excited though, because remember they moved. So that drops back down to 4, but would have been cool, huh? Rolled a 6. So a normal morale check for that dude. And he fails. He fails his morale check. So good on that Portuguese unit there. And then this guy's broken. This guy can fire. That is Portuguese as well. No, that's British. Oh, he already fired, so he's not doing anything. This guy moved. He can do moving fire, so British line moving. That's 2. Down to 1 for column. 2, 3 for rank bonus for firing a French in column. No 3 column. Drops to 2 column. Roll a 3 plus 1 morale check. And whoa, a thing happened. A thing happened, guys. He rolled a 12 on his morale check. You know what that means? He just lost half his unit because the only step losses we have in here are the halving of units, half, and that's it. So he suffers another casualty, he's done. So essentially 2 steps. You're cut in half, and then you're done. So a thing happened. How about that? Now he's going to fire at, let's see if we can get rid of the rest of him. We've sliced him in half now. He is line infantry, moving range fire 2, and column, but he's half strength. Good Lord. All right, here we go. 1. Have that again is 0.5. Comes up to 2.5. So it's a 2 column. And he got a 7, just missed a morale check. This unit fired. This unit will fire half strength. That should be a 2. British line is, yes, it's going to be a 2. Is in column, so that drops to a 1. 0 for firing uphill, back up to 2 for the rank bonus for firing at French in column, so 2 column. 6, 7, and just missed a shake and check, so that's the end of that. Now, I know he broke this turn, so he needs to retreat. And he'll retreat only 1 hex. I can't remember if he broke this turn or not. I think he did. I think he needs to pull back. Yeah, because he did that, right? Did he not? And can you pull back adjacent to an enemy unit? Well, in ASL you can't, but I just did that here. I'm now adjacent to a Portuguese light cavalry unit locked in melee. You know what? He would not pull back towards a light cavalry unit, so he's lost half his unit for failing to retreat 1 hex. Can't retreat here because he's been away. That's how it's got to be. That's how it would be. That's how it is. That was our, advancing fire phase. And then there is no rout phase because we rout at the end of each turn in which a unit breaks. Adjustment phase for the attacker. So, again, if you want to wheel, turn, change formation, and now's the time you can do so. I think, actually, yeah. And I can pull these off now. These move markers, fire markers. Then, for those of you that don't know, these guys are color-coded for a reason. They coincide with the turn in which they're used in ASL. So, movement phase is over. Quick fire phase is over. Defensive fire phase is over. And so in ASL, this would be the advanced phase. I understand why they do that. You need to allow a unit to move into an enemy unit hex to conduct close combat. Well, that doesn't happen here. You don't move into an enemy hex. You just need to be adjacent. So what I've done is turn that into an adjustment phase. And I think I will adjust. I'm going to make this guy change into line. I'm going to make this chap change into line. I'm going to get my money's worth here. And just start volley firing at the French like there's no tomorrow. Keep him in column because close combat, that's what you want. We will change his facing, but keep him in column so he can move up. Need to be in column to move. I think that's it. I'm happy with that. No, I'm not. Yeah, I am. Let's leave it at that. I think I forgot to fire these guys. Either way, now we go to the close combat phase. Let's continue on with the cavalry battle over here. We've got that 3-strength light cavalry, Portuguese light cavalry. The rank bonuses cancel each other out. And there's not a whole lot else I can tack on here as much as I would like to with this melee business. Yeah, it's just how it's got to be. So 2 column and rolled a 7, which is nothing. The French battle back. They are on the, for the light cavalry, that is going to be on the 4 column because they're better than the Portuguese. 3, 4, 5 plus 1 morale check. Boom! Rolled a 12 on his morale check. He is broken and cut in half. There's a big cavalry result there. So he drops from, let's see, light cavalry is typically 3. He drops to rounding down 1. So we got a man down here. I'll glue him back in a second. And he needs to retreat. Remember to retreat at the end of the turn. Why not do it now? I guess I could. But part of the reason I do it this way is to allow other units to fire at the unit instead of it retreating immediately. And then commands and colors, which happens so often. As soon as you retreat, you're not allowed to fire at that unit anymore. So that's how I'm doing it. That was that. And then we have this. This is light. British light infantry. Wow, they have a whopping 5. The rank bonuses cancel out because they're both in column. He's in an open, so no 5 column drops to a 4 column. And wow, he got a 3, so that's a +2 morale check on the light infantry. +2, he rolled an 8 already, so he's already failed. So he is broken. He cannot battle back because he broke. And that's it as far as our close combat phase. So we can go ahead and pull him back. He was the attacker, yes, so he has to take ground. He can't just chill in the wood. Meaning he needs to advance after combat and take that hex. What else? Things and stuff and whatnot. Then I said this guy needed to pull back. This 1 strength Portuguese light, which he does. He's still broken though, so why did I remove that? That brings us to turn. Wow, that was okay. So that brings us to turn 3, and that's probably going to do it for this evening's entertainment. I'll clean the table here of any markers that I forgot or overlooked. Yes, this one, he was out of command. This guy here, straighten. That's good. So we had some results. We again might argue that we should have more results than we did. We talked about that. But I'm telling you, though, overall it's working. It's working. This is the 3rd time I've done this. Thinking. Hold on. That was actually not. That was still turn 2.5, so that would be French reply. Whew. Not turn 3. Turn 2.5, French reply. So yeah, it seems to be working. Where is... I'll run through some of these rules for you because that's where the engine of this thing is. Square, blah, 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 blah. There we go. So what are we talking about here? What have I done? What did you do? Well, here's what I've done. Where's the camera at? So here's the first sheet, right? What are we looking at there? We've got our introduction, the components, units, and it really just mentions how there is still an extent to which we abide by commands and colors stuff. So you see these stat sheets. We still use the strength or number of blocks, which translates into combat results, firepower for full and half strength, and number of hexes retreated, and movement and range. So we still abide by commands and colors when it comes to that. And then we get to some interesting ASL stuff here with the leaders. And I've pulled a lot of this from solitaire ASL as far as like command stuff. Your 2x command range. We have our full-blown ASL leaders right on our Napoleonic leaders, and we use those morale numbers and modifiers just as you would in ASL. Formations are in here, so here's another way in which we diverge from commands and colors and its rudimentary applications. We've got column and line in here, and then we have breakdown of morale and morale checks, shaken checks. So again, shaken checks are essentially your pin task checks. And then our turn sequence, which is, for the most part, adheres to the ASL rigor. You've got your rally phase, where you try to rally broken units, but then also you roll command, your command checks, and then your prep fire phase, which I just call fire phase, movement phase, defensive fire phase, advancing fire phase, and then what would be your advanced phase is just an adjustment phase for the attacker, where you can wheel or change formation, and then your close combat phase, in which you do, well, close combat, and your cavalry charges. Breakdown of command and how that works, rolling command for leaders. Once all leaders have failed their command, then you can roll command for individual units, but it's always the leaders first. Blunders are in here, as I mentioned. That's one thing I always thought was cool and clever and hip from Black Powder. Individual units to roll individual command can roll blunders if they roll a 12. And then you roll on your blunder table to see what they do. Movement, let's see, facing, as we saw, is also abided by. Taking ground, wheeling, turning, all adhered to. And then your combat results table here is, that's from ASL. There's nothing different or changed in there. That's what I've been using. We've got cowering that can take place unless you have an attached leader. And the results are the same as ASL. I've changed pin task checks to shaken checks. You've got your normal morale checks, your positive numbered morale checks, which can range from normal morale check to a 1 to a 2 to a 3. Casualty reductions in here, KIA. So I did change, I take that back. I did change the KIA results from 1 KIA, 2 KIA to just KIA. And a KIA means the unit's gone. It may seem severe to have a full unit just instantly disappear from the table, but it happens infrequently enough that it works. Usually, these units are eliminated, as I said, in halves through casualty reduction, rolling 12s on morale checks, etc., etc. In our firing, you have the unit strength. You have your rank bonuses for the firing unit and the target unit. Actually, just for the target unit. And then your terrain modifiers. And then melee is a hair more involved, as both units have rank bonuses. And you've got your charging modifiers in there as well as square modifiers. There's a fat -5 modifier in there if you charge a square. Don't recommend it. And then restrictions on melee. Infantry cannot attack cavalry in melee. A unit that fights in melee while in line, you can do that, but you're need to change that to shaken. You're shaken afterwards. Let's change that now, shall we? Where is that? There it goes, shaken. And breaks down cavalry charges, which we already talked about a little bit. And then our combat results. And to be honest with you, I think a big part of what makes, and I've already said this, ASL so much fun is the combat results. It's not just a flat result. There's so much that can take place. Again, you can do your shaken check, and then you have to roll for that. Morale checks can result in so many things. For instance, I do have heat of battle in here as well, just as you would in ASL. We have units that can become heroic or berserk and charge, or flat out become eliminated. Desperation morale is in here. I even have experience level rating in here. Now, I've been forgetting to apply that. But a unit that fails its morale check by an amount greater than its experience level rating will subtract 1 from its combat strength and morale for the duration of the game. And ELR ratings are broken down into regular units with an ELR of 2, regular units with an ELR of 3, elite units with an ELR of 4, and guard units with an ELR of 5. Then some optional rules with artillery ammo shortage. If you roll a 12, when you're firing artillery, you have low ammo, which means you only fire on the lowest possible fire strength, which would be a 1, and only at adjacent units. You can roll to fix that in the rally phase. And then some other things, and then the questions and considerations to think about, which I've already mentioned a few. You may or may not have also noticed as big a fan I am of it. Not a single chit pull anything, so not a whole lot left to random determination as far as initiative and who goes when. It's pretty much you go, I go, you go stuff, which doesn't seem to be that well received these days, but it's worked for so long, it'll continue to work. And then I do not have commanders-in-chief in here. Commanders-in-chiefs, not in here. Not sure how to work them in here, but that's listed on the list of considerations. There's no orders functioning in here. There's a possibility, but again, I mean, there's no point in tacking things on just for the sake of tacking them on. That just weighs the thing down. Already mentioned point blank fire and the possibility of using that. I haven't decided yet. I'm kind of on the fence. And for that matter, long range fire. So, I mean, typically a line unit has a 2 hex range. Now, if I could add hex ranges, you don't have to use, I use hexes because I have them and I like them. It keeps things clean and orderly, and you know what you're doing. Don't need them though. I mean, if you want to use a 15 millimeter scale, your ranges and movements break down into 4-inch increments, and then you could double that for 28 millimeters. So say 6 to maybe 8-inch increments. I guess what I'm getting at is when a line unit fires, typically he will have a 4-inch range. But I suppose you could do fire again as an infantry line unit, 2 hex range, or say 8 inches, and then fire at half strength. I mean, the incentive of doing that, I'm not sure, because your numbers are going to be so low, and the likelihood of achieving any result uh, not very good. But I don't know. Maybe there's a benefit that I'm unaware of adding that. That's about it. But it's working, and I don't know. Any questions, comments, etc. Greatly appreciated. Um, that's all I got. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun doing this. And the obvious question remains: if you got so much ASL stuff you're pumping in here, why not just play ASL? Well, I have a little on vacation. I drug some ASL stuff with me, and percolating on the back burner is the straight up ASL stuff. So we'll see. But the Napoleonic thing has always been, I shouldn't say always, but these days has really been the backbone of my anything I do. And why that is, who knows? I won't go into it, but that seems to be what I keep coming back to. But ASL as well, always been one of my loves, and thought, why not force the two to have an affair and see what happens? So it's actually worked out kind of nice. That's about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll cut you loose. Have a good week, guys.